What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to you guys as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share it, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. And we appreciate your guys' support in getting us this far. Now, today we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by somebody I've been following for a long time and has got a lot of great things going on. Casual, thank you for coming through, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me. How you doing?
Man, everything is good. Everything is good. So you have a lot of things going on in the crypto space now that we're going to start off with here. But as we start that off, I think it's important to kind of frame this because back in the day with the Future Development album from Dell, that was the first time I remember hearing of rappers or really anybody going hard selling stuff online back in the mid to late 90s. So for you, as that stuff was happening, why did Hiero make that early push, and what was your thoughts at the time of putting an album out on the internet exclusively?
Good question. And that was like really the precursor to all of this. Us back in the day being up on technology and always wanting to push the envelope, with new things, excuse me, being able to reach our fan base in new ways. It was actually not even us who had the intuition to come up with our website and to sell things in the way we did. Once we decided to become independent, we had to use all auxiliaries we could. And so now, after 30 years of being, technologically advanced in hip hop, we still want to try to use new ways to help artists like ourselves. And so with DeFi technology, I see the point in time when the music industry is not what it is as it is today, and people are just funding projects with DeFi technology. And so this is why we're trying to be at the forefront of that. With Hierocoin bar specifically, our token on the Binance Smart Chain.
Okay. And as we get into that, since it wasn't necessarily Hiero's idea to sell Future Development, Dell's album, or to go online, do you remember why you guys decided, hey, that sounds like a good idea? Because you could have just said, nah, we're not doing that.
We had a good fan base that was feeding us with the type of information we liked. Like, yo, check this out. This is the new. That homie that always come to you talking about what's the new and showing you, and you kind of like a few steps behind. Well, our fan base early on were those people. Actually, one of the guys who developed our initial website, I think it was possibly the website. I don't think it was futuredevelopment.com, but it was some other, hieroglyphics.com back in the day, developed by a fan named Stinky. And he put us on to selling music through the internet. And so, after that, it was just like, yo, this is something that people ain't doing. We're at the forefront of it. We actually won an award early on for having one of the best websites about 1997, 98. I don't even know who would give out awards like that now, but you know what I mean? And so I think we were selling some stuff before the Future Development project, but that was also a big catalyst because it was like nowhere else you could get this Dell album, but hand to hand or through the internet.
Right. Yeah, it was crazy. And I also remember too, with around this time that you guys were getting really big into selling merch. So it wasn't just the music, it was the whole thing. And since you guys, you were on Jive, Dell was on Electra, and Souls was on Jive as well. You guys, what did you learn from the major label system back then that you applied that still affects you today?
A lot. About how the industry works. All of our early teachings, if you could think about it, most of the artists who led the way with the record company industry, I forgot record industry rule number 4080, but it was that record company people are shady. Well, I'm talking about this culture and this push for hip hop to move in a direction away from the major labels. If you realize it was all jive artists at one time, pushing to move towards independence. You think about KRS-One, always labeled just the plantation, or so to speak. And if you look at how Tribe Called Quest addressed it, they were the ones who came out with those record industry rules. And so I don't know, I think it was kind of like even a natural progression for us to, because we were on a label that was already, I mean, amongst artists who were already fighting the system, so to speak, and for us to just naturally move along that way, it was natural. But some of the things that you would learn being amongst those people, you see 30 years of progress that we made, you know what I mean, taking the knowledge we got dealing with major labels and kind of reconforming it into things that will work for artists like ourselves.
Okay.
You know?
Gotcha.
Like, I mean, to expound, not to go on, not to, but to expound, it was just really about hitting the ground running. We was like this, yo, they just dumped a lot of money into us and then dropped us. If we could reap the benefit of everything they did and really not have our perception looking like we lost a step, like our videos still got to look like the Jive videos. A bunch of that, what we learned, and it just helped us over the years.
Yeah, because despite what people think or what record companies do or don't do, the bottom line is they do invest a lot of money to promote somebody, even if they don't do a good job of it. You know, they do make a significant financial investment, and that, I think, to your point, Hieroglyphics definitely used that platform and opportunity once you guys did go independent. And that's a testament to your guys' vision to be able to see that. So third eye vision, as they say. So congratulations on that.
And props to Domino and all of the dudes who really was like, yo, who pushed that along early on. Like, yo, we could just take this, and we, you know, it's kind of like you get what you asked for when we was like, we don't want to be on these major labels. And then we got dropped. And so he was the one who spearheaded all of this. So shout out to Domino and the rest of the crew, you know.
And what do you remember what you were thinking when he was breaking that down to you? Did you say that makes sense, or did you say, oh, let's try to get some more different deals, or what?
Well, we was like a football team in a huddle who was coming with a weird play that nobody ever ran. But Dom was in there at QB, and he was like, I'm telling you, once they drop us, we could do this, and we'll go on tour, and we'll start selling merch like you mentioned. And I mean, it worked. I mean, you know.
Clearly, it clearly worked. Okay. So then you also, after you left Jive, after Fear Itself, of course, you had several releases, several which, you know, got prominent, and you've done a lot of things, soundtracks, got some nice plaques on the wall there as well. But with getting cryptocurrency and the Hierocoin light paper stuff, do you remember how or why or when around, I'd seen 2014-ish, I'd seen you talk or something that's around when you got introduced to it. So what intrigued you about cryptocurrency back in 2014?
Interesting, because it appeared as a bridge. The blockchain technology appeared as a bridge from concept and idea into real world reality, with a lot of my ideas that would take like venture capital or other things to you know, to start up. It's kind of like I seen crowdfunding on the blockchain before it was actually phrased in that way. The way that blockchain technology could help hip hop and all of these other facets of life, I just seen that immediately back in the day. I was like, oh, so you could do this. Oh, we could do this. You know what I mean? And kind of like really early getting into it really early on, it was because I got introduced to Bitcoin as a utility for buying another crypto in a old metaverse called Second Life. And I was trying to buy a currency called Second Life Lendings in order to try to buy land in Second Life. And in order to do that, you had to go on some weird exchange and buy a currency called Bitcoin. So the first time I bought it, it was pretty cheap. I wanted to buy more land, went back to buy it. It was rather expensive. I would start talking to my wife, like, hey, maybe we should think about this. And it sounded so weird. This is like 2012. But I started seeing, I bought this token and I didn't even really want to buy this token. It was for something else. They already had a utility for exchange and Second Life. And I just started thinking about what that would lead to and wanted to really be in on it. And so I started, a lot of it was open source. Bitcoin was open source, and that's how Litecoin developed. I took Litecoin's code with a developer of mine, and we forked Litecoin and had our first version of Hierocoin back in 2014. And so it was pretty cool, but it was so early that we were actually running command prompt lines. I mean, like you'd have to be on an all black screen and trying to, like, here's your wallet. I was trying to show people, but adoption was really hard to get even your closest peers to try to help with a project where they're looking at the screen and it's just, no one's really understanding our ability to now. It's grown, and people are starting to understand our ability to be able to pass value peer to peer with no centralized authority over that. But back then, saying that, it still sounds weird to people. Like, so what? I could just Zelle you or PayPal you. You know what I mean? But I seen a lot of opportunity in it, so I dove right in.
So thinking of that and then thinking back to the future development era, what are some of the similarities you see and some of the differences as far as people's openness or their questions, and even your own like mental state? Like, how's that changed?
Well, a lot has changed with, but I feel like I'm on the same path. As far as selling music early online, it was hard to get people to adopt that as well. People like MP3, what's the MP3? We're like, no, you can just have it in your computer. You know what I'm saying? iPods start coming out. We were before a lot of that technology, 97, 96. And so really it's the same, it was the same type of thing. The world will adopt certain things, and it's just going to be where you hit along the timeline of that adoption. Some people are going to be far after things, and those people benefit a lot too. It's not always the early first person who tells people who benefits the most, but they still help to push things forward. And that's why we can humbly say, or even if we didn't make the Napster or iTunes money, we were selling music online before them, and hopefully we help to inspire that type of that industry. Same with hip hop and crypto. Right now, you probably, it'll be hard pressed to have 10 conversations with artists who have their own cryptos and are well along the line of building a DAO for funding the arts. You know what I'm saying? We don't say that we're going to be the biggest or the best, but we just want to give that genuine effort in showing people how cryptocurrency and the arts can merge. You know what I mean?
Okay. So one famous example with crowdsourcing was like De La Soul did one of their albums, through crowdsourcing and got funded and got a lot more than they thought they were going to get. So kind of to your point, if people were like, oh, I'll just Zelle you $100 while you work on your album, what's the benefit for you and the benefit for the person to get into the Hierocoin?
That's a great question. First, the first benefit is supporting the build of our DAO, our decentralized autonomous organization, where the members of that DAO will be able to govern and vote on proposals from other members to see who gets funding or whose project is incubated by the nature of their proposal. And it simply takes 51% approval of your peers before one gets funded. And so participating in or holding bar supports the build of that. Just how you mentioned traditional web 2.0 crowdfunding. I think we're moving into what they're calling Web 3.0 once we're adding these decentralized applications that people can interact with and extract value or input whatever, but we're moving into a new era with it. Excuse me. I just got over my little run with COVID, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, that was crazy for me and my family. So I've been holding back a lot of costs doing our interview, but everything was, I'm feeling good. But like I said, I mean, like I was going along just explaining how Web 3.0 be changing things a little bit and allowing people to interact with new protocol like buying bar. If someone wanted to, someone thought it was a good idea to, hey, that's a good idea to have a decentralized autonomous organization. And that's what they call a DAO. For people who don't know, for short, it's called a DAO. To have an organization where artists could join this organization and get their projects funded if they get their members to approve. Well, holding bar will help us build out this DAO. And we're in the process of doing it. We're well along our roadmap. People can check it out at hieroglyphics.com to see where we are in the process. And we plan to have our DAO up and running by spring 2020. And so things are moving along smoothly.
Okay. But when do you plan to have it up?
Spring.
Okay, of 2022. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. I said 2020.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, we should have had it up a long time ago, huh? But like I told you, I'm not struggling to feel normal, but I'm feeling good.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you're recovering. Unfortunately, sorry to hear you had COVID, but
yeah, that was all. I mean, you know, it was crazy, but hey, you know, I'm talking to you and I'm back. I don't have it anymore. So this is like, it's like weird when I don't want to change it to a COVID conversation, but you know how people talk about how certain things linger for longer than normal. Yeah, you be like, dang, this is crazy, but it's all good. But again, Hierocoin bar is on the Binance Smart Chain. For anyone who is not familiar with the Binance Smart Chain, it's basically a network started by Binance, the exchange. If you're familiar with any of that, you familiar with Binance or Binance Smart Chain?
Not to the level that you are, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just like a fork of ETH. Remember how I was talking about I forked like Litecoin? They basically just more successfully forked Ethereum's blockchain. And you know, a token runs on top of a coin, so to speak. We have a token which runs on top of a network called the Binance Smart Chain. Some people have tokens that run on top of the Ethereum blockchain, and then all of their gas fees and things like that are paid in ETH. Ours are paid in BNB because it's the native token of the Binance Smart Chain. And so it's going to help a lot. Again, it's going to take, you see stuff like this, it's hard for adoption, but people that are interested, we hear and we trying to build and move something. Check out hieroglyphics.com and everything else for more information. You know?
Yeah. So one interesting thing as these, say, you know, people bid and the next casual album is the one that people want to hear. And that's the selection. Then how detailed do you anticipate this going? Like, because I Didn't Mean To is one of my favorite songs of yours, of course, but you produced that. So then is it going to be like, man, Domino, you're going to have votes of like Domino's going to produce the album, Casual produce 7 songs. Like how do you envision that breaking down? Oh, A+ is going to do this. You know, how is that going to work?
Very good question. It seems as if the proposal process, since it's a proposal process with no authority, it's not like a CDO of it. All we can do is set the template, and the proposal process will drive itself by who are the keenest people who can write the most detailed proposals that will get 51% of the people to approve it. Because you know, people ain't gonna have the nature of man is not just to be approving anything, and so it's gonna be different. It's going to start turning into who can develop the most detailed proposals that, like you said, interest people in that regard. Like if you guys approve this, we'll have Evidence produce this beat, or we'll have Alchemist over this beat, and we'll get Dell and But again, we have to reiterate that it's if someone writes a proposal for Hieroglyphics to do something and it's approved, and then Hieroglyphics will act in that accord. But this is not to benefit us as a band. It's only us taking our knowledge of what we see needed in the industry and providing a platform for other artists to fund their projects. You see what I mean? And so if someone wrote a proposal that it's all about what proposals get approved and how detailed they are and how keen they are in making people press approve. You know?
Okay. And then internally on the Hiero side of things, as many people have said, including our Razkaz, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So then how do you say, assuming this happens, the casual album produced by Half Evidence, Half by Alchemist, how do you just be like, nah, I don't want to work with Alchemist? Like, how would that go?
And so assuming that someone involved with each proposal, I mean, you know, if you're writing a proposal in a decentralized autonomous organization, hopefully that proposal writer would have done his due diligence and even making sure that that's something that can be manifest. You know what I mean? Something that could be brought forward. Because just suppose a member of the DAO wrote this beautiful proposal, like, yeah, we'll get Kanye and the Souls and Casual and all of the artists. There would have to be some preliminary work to people who are not associated with the particular project to propose certain things and think that they'll really manifest. You know what I mean? Because all we can put behind it is the funds in the form of tokens, and even the value of that token will depend on how much we can put into it and all of that. And so, particularly, I think some people would look at proposals like that as a farce. Or they're just trying to get the money. They're not going to make that happen, and they probably won't click approve on something like that. But more humble proposals for artists that are well detailed and even KYC verified in some instances, because who's going to want to be like, no, we want to see who you really are that we're giving this dough to. Well, it goes like this: 2.5% of whatever the DAO raises is accessible in the form of submitting a proposal. So if it gets to be a healthy DAO and we got $1 million in there, what, 25 grand or something like that, you can write a proposal for 25 grand. You know what I mean? It sounds like something that sounds about right. You know what I mean? And so 2.5%, yeah, if we was doing 10%, exactly. So that's right. And so that will be a healthy DAO to be a part of for an independent artist who doesn't have another way to gain funding for a project, just convincing the other members that you're worthwhile. And it's a simple process. It's not one that we've created. It's just that we've took what's called the decentralized autonomous organization and tried to make it focus on the arts.
Okay. And then one of the main things I'm always curious about cryptocurrency and all the different variations and parts of it and worlds and stuff that it's creating is say you need to buy deodorant or a cup to drink out of. Where do you think Hierocoin, are you guys going to be getting into utilitarian stuff like deodorant, like a blanket? Like, how do you envision that happening if this goes well?
And so basically with most tokens that are, if we're talking about like acquiring real world products that are not branded by us, because we can the products that are branded by us, is easy to just put up a widget to have people pay in your currency to obtain your products. But other real world products, the current protocol is going through, because I don't want to get it too far ahead of myself, exchanging back in the fiat is something that you really don't want to do for your quote unquote crypto or anything. You want it to stay in that area. But there are certain tokens that yours can trade with that exchange for fiat. And so this is why some people run on top of other tokens. For instance, people know they can go to Coinbase and sell their Ethereum for cash dollars. And so any token that runs on top of Ethereum it's the same. It works the same way. You just trade that token for Ethereum, get it into cash, and buy what you so-called want with it. So since there's volatility in the price of cryptocurrencies, this is why some people, oh, okay, like right now, crypto is really low. Bitcoin is at like 42,000. You know what I'm saying? And some people will be like, oh, I'll take $5,000 and put it into Bitcoin. And when it starts to go up, my $5,000 will be 6,500. In order to get that back, there are places they can just spend the Bitcoin, but in order to get back to buy real world items, they just go right in their Coinbase, click one button, and they'll change it from the volatile Bitcoin back to a stable coin or actually fiat dollars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because that's one of the things as I think about this and try to understand it better, is that since Tesla is one company that said they're going to take Bitcoin, you know, if a Tesla on Monday is $37,000 and then on Friday it's $53,000 and the equivalent of Bitcoin, they're not going to sell any on Friday.
Oh yeah, no, they got an automator in there. So
Yeah.
when we run them widgets, they gonna just do it to the price of US dollar, even if they're taking Bitcoin. And it calculates it down to the second. You know what I mean? And so the Tesla will probably still be 60 racks, but Bitcoin then fell down to 41. And so now it takes a Bitcoin and a half to get a Tesla. But when Bitcoin is up to 75 and you still 60 racks to get a Tesla, then it'll take 75% of Bitcoin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like how they work that out a little bit to make sure that, because no one will ever, it wouldn't work. Because this is like the guy who bought Big Macs for with his Bitcoin 10 years ago or what have you.
Right. So then how do you find why is this so interesting, impressive, and necessary to you?
Good question. Very good question. Because I always I have ideas that I want to manifest. I have things I want to do, and I feel like cryptocurrency is a very good way for people to. I'm into cooperative economics primarily. I feel that anything you ask people to buy into should also benefit them. Our current stands of crowdfunding or getting group funds on things, it's going to benefit an investor really big, often more than you. If they're going to put up the bulk sum of the money, then they're going to take the lion's share. It's your idea. Or we came up with these crowdfunding platforms that simply give a reward or a unique item for your participation, but you're no longer in on the project, so to speak. You just helped it to get off the floor. Well, cryptocurrency kind of offers a way for your people to have a vested interest in the success of the project. You see what I'm saying? Because they're holding a piece of it that if the project is a success, then they're like, see, I helped it because look, I'm holding and I've been holding for long. And now what I've been holding is now worth something because they did build this decentralized autonomous organization. It was a hit and everybody wants in now. You see what I mean? And so it's a little bit different than saying, oh, we're going to go on Kickstarter and crowdfund and you get the t-shirt that says you helped support us, and that's the end of your involvement with the project.
Yeah, I mean, that is the participation from the consumer, the patron, however you want to look at it, is the thing that's very intriguing to me, because when you're dealing with either art or a tangible product, it opens the floodgates, I think, for chaos, which is why I'm so intrigued, and even more volatility, because as we know, I mean, as you know, with Hiero, just from talking to Dell and A Plus and other people, Domino, over the years, it's not like when you guys did a song, everybody was like, oh man, that's perfect, let's go. It's always like wanting to make it better, not liking something, wanting to redo. Oh man, your third verse is whack. Rewrite that. Whatever it is, it's a process. And when you have 10 people doing something versus 10,000 people doing something, that to me is the interesting part of the evolution of how this is going to evolve, you know?
Yeah, I see exactly your point. And that's one reason why our DAO is itself its own thing. It's not our record company. It's not attached to our success or failures as a label. It's going to be it's just merely branded after our company, and it's branded after our logo, our band, and it's our idea. But when it comes to the input, it's going to be one of the most democratic processes out. DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, that platform right there, with the quorum of 51%, it's kind of going to like democratize the industry if it has the potential to grow, if these funds are amassed in the way that they can be. If we look at other DAOs right now and just compare to look at what they've been raising, this DAOs out there with hundreds of millions, even billions, for their members to govern over. But the difference is they don't allocate any funds towards the members. The best you could do is a flash loan or a quick some type of loan showing that you got the collateral. In this way, we're going to be like, nah, we're changing hip hop and putting money behind good projects. And I think if this system works and all our contracts are well written and audited and gets past everything, I think it's going to be really good for hip hop and the arts in general.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So how much, like with Hierocoin, how much of your time are you spending on your life and your other endeavors, and then Hierocoin, like where's your time?
Man, I'm one of them people that be fully too engulfed in everything. Like if I start a project, I'm over engulfed. I mean, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like I do 16-hour days sometimes. I've been getting back up on my sleep lately, like I said, because I had to. But you know, I was doing like I'm all over this thing. It is my brainchild, so to speak, and it's just no real free time. Maybe sometimes I force myself, like on Sunday the other day, I said, yo, you gotta go fishing just to hear what nature sounds like, because staring at the screens even starts affecting my eyesight when I go in so hard trying to do stuff in the simulation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And speaking of that, since you are project manager of Hiero's move into the space, what was that discussion, or what happened to where the crew anointed you the project manager? How did that work?
Well, it's been my brainchild for a long time. It's more or less been a process of trying to show people what's going on, like since 2014, and more. There's been different adoption inside the crew, but I'm the CEO of Hieroglyphics, the record label, and when it comes to branching out with other ventures, I had a proven success rate, you know what I'm saying, of like, yo, we should do this. And the boys say, we'll give it a go. And then it turns out to be a success. One of the products was Hiero Day, you know what I'm saying? Hiero jeans, Hiero shoes. These were all my brainchilds, you know what I'm saying? And they all sold out, and they're all going no matter how much time it's taking. And so I've earned that, at least from my peers, to say, they'll tell me what they don't like, or they'll be like, oh, we shouldn't do this, and everything is not a go. But we've worked on this project for so long, and they've really seen how long we've been invested in this, that it's kind of like a no-brainer, so to speak, you know, amongst the crew. Everyone was like full speed ahead. But you know, sometimes I'm like, so you still haven't learned that? And I expect people, then they expect me. They like, no, this is your project, so to speak. Not like that, but you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So then, that being said, as CEO of the label at this point, what other terrestrial projects do you guys have? Mm-hmm. Like, what are your focuses right now?
Yeah, well, everybody's working, and you know, it's always the big focus to get the collective together to do certain things, but no one's stressing that at this point. We've made wonderful contributions. You know what I'm saying? We've got to the point where in order to sustain ourselves to this point, we've started accumulating assets and doing things that we now want to teach hip hop how to do in order to bring longevity to their crews or their moment in hip hop. And so we made acquisitions. Everybody's working though. I'm dropping an album on the 28th. Thanks for the opportunity to plug that. Is the Art of Reanimation. It got brand new content, but it's a remix album by my man Dead Perry. And this is wonderful artwork, wonderful everything. We got the vinyl, we got even cassettes, you know what I mean? And so everyone's working. Tajay's releasing new stuff. We A+ and Pep just put up a new video the other day. Dale stays working, and he's been telling me about some digital art he's been doing lately. And so, but we trying to still, you know, I'm like, yo, some of the stuff need to be NFTs, you know me. And everybody's still giving, not really rolling their eyes because we're starting to hear more and more about hip hop's adoption. But it's kind of like further along the lines of something I've been preaching for a while to the crew.
Well, there it is. Well, man, Casual, it's been great talking to you. I'm glad COVID didn't take you out, man. And
man, you know, I was scared, man.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on all this, man. And when the album comes, we'd love to have you back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Peace. Y'all check out Casual Rap God on Instagram and Hierocoin Bar. Grab you some bar, Hotto Bar. Thanks for having me.
Be sure to check out The History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.